shared again.
You're going, starting?
Yeah, let's start now. Hey guys, welcome back to Salaam, Namaste, Calgary again. Time 9:38 and now we have Miss Calgary is in the house and of course Salma ji bhi hain जो कि Miss Salaam Namaste Calgary हैं.
It was fun to put on her crown and act as if now I can be taken as Miss Adult, Senior.
Senior, I'll go with it.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, Mattea Henderson.
Yes.
Welcome to Salaam Namaste Calgary.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Speak just speak up a little bit. Maybe you can
Yeah,
put your mic on your.
Is that better?
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
better. Yeah,
Okay.
maybe just put up a little bit.
Just tell me what to
There
do.
we go.
Good?
There
Okay,
we
I
go.
trust
So how are
you.
you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy there's no snow right now. That's my biggest thing. So.
So tell us about yourself. Of course, you are Miss Calgary. Then you have like big bio.
Yeah. So I won Miss World Calgary in March.
This year, March?
This year.
Okay.
And then
Nice.
I went to nationals in Toronto and I competed with 56 other delegates from across the country.
Okay.
Which was amazing. And then I came third overall. And
Third overall.
Yeah, so
Wow.
I won this really sparkling crown.
Beautiful. This is
Wow.
a beautiful crown.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
won Miss Intercontinental Canada.
Miss
and-
Intercontinental. And now, where you are heading for that?
Oh Jesus! So originally I was supposed to go to India in
Okay.
November, and then it got moved to Sri Lanka for December. So I would have actually been on a flight tonight
Uh-huh.
Oh,
to go
okay.
compete, and then there were some circumstances they moved
Yeah.
it again.
Okay.
So now in the new year I'm going to be in Egypt from January 10th to 25th.
Oh, wow.
So that's
What a
Miss
country.
So that's Miss Intercontinental.
Yes.
Yeah, Miss Intercontinental.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when did your journey of being in the pageants started?
Oh wow. So originally I was 16 and I was a full-time student in high school and I was a multi-sport athlete and I kind of came to the decision I should get a part-time job.
Right.
And I didn't want to work retail because I worked retail and my mom goes, well, you've always been asked to model, you've always been asked in shopping centers, why don't we go talk to a couple
Yeah.
agencies and
Yeah.
get something that fits into your
That's
school
right.
and work. So Patty Faulkner in Calgary,
Okay.
I walked into her office and she goes, you're a pageant girl.
Oh,
And
Wow.
I didn't introduce myself. That was the first thing that came out of her mouth. So
Wow.
yeah, it was a really big compliment. She goes, "You're going to be a pageant girl. That's that."
Mm.
So I won Miss Teen Calgary in 2011
Mhm.
through her, and that's kind of how I started. And I didn't really know what to expect, but it's probably the best decision I ever made.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I know you have been busy, you have been winning. So are you still in school or college, whatever?
Yeah, so I
education
actually
you're
attend
doing?
Mount Royal for Marketing International Business.
Oh, nice.
And I'm in my last year in my last semester, so I would have graduated this week.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited,
Uh-huh.
but just due to the circumstance of competing, I talked to my parents, and they said, Mattea, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. You
Right.
can represent Canada,
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
represent
yeah.
women.
Right.
If you choose to defer your semester, you might as well be able to.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity. So I deferred just because my finals would have been at the same time of the competition. And then I got the call 2 Mondays ago that it's been moved again.
Okay.
So now I'm deferring next semester too, just because it's senior classes and I
Yeah,
don't want to
that's
risk my
right.
education.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
But you know what? Because they've been moving your exams and they've been moving the pageant. You know why? Because of tonight.
Just
Yeah.
because of tonight.
It's
Yeah,
all
that's
planned.
Everything comes together, full circle.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and you will say you will win something, guaranteed.
I'm
That-
excited. I'm trying to keep my composure and not freak out a little bit too
Yeah.
much. Like I still have to figure out my plane ticket.
Yeah.
So.
So how many girls are going to Egypt?
Huh.
Oh my goodness. We actually have a group chat. So Miss Philippines was kind enough to connect all the girls from
Oh, how
every
nice.
country. So
Mm-hmm.
I think there's going to be about 64 of us.
Yeah, 60.
From all over the world.
From all
All over
over around the world, yeah.
So then how many from from Canada?
Just me.
Just you?
Just me. So hence the Canada.
Wow.
Nice. Oh, it's such a
I'm
privilege
excited.
So
to
honored to
have her
have you.
in our studio. How
So can we take a one more selfie now?
Right now?
So now it's a different, you know?
Do you want to wear this hat?
You know about Mr. Calgary, yeah, so he might have to, put it on. But of course, like you go here and there, it's
Yeah.
not that cheap.
No, it's not.
So how's sponsorship helping you?
I've been really blessed. I've made some amazing relationships throughout the years. So I have a woman in Lethbridge named Angeline McDonald, and she sponsors me all my evening gowns because they're very expensive.
Yeah,
Yes.
So she is a huge sponsor of Miss World Canada, and all of the girls that compete, they get an array of dresses for their international competitions. So I started with her in 2014 when I went to Miss Teen Universe, and ever since I've been in love. So she's in Lethbridge. So that's one. I have an amazing fitness sponsor in Kensington. So Kensington Fitness was kind enough to sponsor me a membership during my year to make sure I'm healthy and I'm fit and I feel good. And they also gave me a personal trainer just to get that little bit of edge in competition to make sure I'm ready for the stage.
Yeah, wow.
What else? Those are my major two. I've got a couple photographers I work with locally that just comp all my costs, which is amazing. I have a hair sponsor, so it's more of
So you have all these sponsors.
I've got
who are
some really
helping
good
out.
ones.
Yeah.
The issue is flying is so expensive within
Yes.
Canada, so I've been really careful about where I fly, how I fly.
So what about the WestJet and those people? They can't jump with you, like they can jump on the on the wagon.
Anyone who wants to sponsor, I'd appreciate it. I do a ton of charity work, so a lot of my sponsorship goes towards charity instead.
Okay, so why don't we get you the contact to the
of course,
WestJet?
Of course, yeah.
And it might help. God knows.
It will be a pleasure
Anything
that if
helps,
something help you. Yeah.
But as long as we are your media sponsor.
I would say that sounds pretty good. I've got my marketing degree. I'm not market myself.
So how important it is that the family support a girl like you needs.
Honestly, my family has been supporting me since day one. It is such a blessing. My very first pageant, my dad was actually in Arizona for a conference call. So my mom called him during the call and she goes, by the way, she won. So my dad told everyone. But I've been really lucky. There are some girls who don't have the same support. And I feel like you really need that emotional and physical support from your family saying, you know what, you're doing a good job. You're being a role model. You're there to do a job. Do your job and don't lose yourself in the process.
Yeah, that is the most important thing. Don't lose yourself in the process.
Wow.
And I hope whoever is watching and listening to us, there is a really good message what she said just now, and that's very important.
There are a bunch of people are watching.
Yeah. So how, like, supposing you are not in marketing, supposing you are in any other field. So how important it is? How do you balance the between your education and all these pageants, and you have to do so much, you know, like so how do you balance that?
For me, I'm really lucky just because I found marketing was a good fit for me. My dad's in business and my mom was in kinesiology and she was also in banking. So my parents both have university educations. My sister's doing a double major in biochem and microbiology, and then my brother's in the military. But a lot of the women who compete actually have their undergraduate degrees, if not their masters. A lot of them really focus on women in business and breaking that glass ceiling. For example, Lauren Howe was just Miss Universe Canada, and she competed. I got to see her in Vegas last week, which is unbelievable. But she focuses really on women in engineering and women in science and mathematics, and we really push that women should have an education or follow what they're passionate about, because we just have as much drive as men.
Wow.
So can you give some message that how important it is to be fit and exercise and healthy, and for all the girls, you know, like of course it's more important for you because you being in that all the pageants, but just for our viewers and listeners, that how important it is for girls to look after themselves, and so just a few words about that.
I think it's not just women and girls that need to look after themselves. I think it's every single person, just because there's so many issues with health these days. If you don't take care of your body, you're not going to be able to take care of your mind, and then you're not going to be able to do what you want to do. It's so everything's connected that way. So if you're not able to take care of yourself physically, that just relapses into your mental health too.
So true. So nicely said.
And you know, when you won this Miss Intercontinental, so can you share the experience on the last, maybe you were one of the top 3 first or something?
Yeah, for sure. So I was lucky. They did a top 6, which was really cool. I'd never done a top 6 before. Usually it's like a top 5. So I did my final question, and
what was the question, if you remember?
So my question was, what makes your province authentic from the rest of Canada?
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm going, okay, I can't talk about the Calgary Stampede because that's just Calgary. I can't talk about oil and gas.
Because it's only Alberta.
It is Alberta, but at the same time, it pays for a lot of debt in the rest of Canada,
That's right.
which we're very blessed to do.
That's
and
right.
I'm like, what can I talk about?
Yeah.
And so I kind of like introduced myself again because they pronounced my name wrong the whole time. So my mom was livid. She was
So how you for our viewers,
Yeah.
can you say?
Yeah, so they pronounced my name Mattea Henderson.
Okay.
And my name's Mattea.
Mattea.
Yes.
So even I said wrong as
Oh,
well.
I don't take it personally.
Mattea.
It's
but
what it is.
it's always important because
Yeah.
you know I'm one of those, like, first of all, I don't like pet names, you know, when they change it. And I say, when you have such a beautiful name, tell somebody if they are not pronouncing it right. Tell them that this is how it is pronounced, and the other person will try. So I
Mattea. I think that's that's a
Mattea. It's so
that's a pretty name,
beautiful.
eh? Mattea.
Yeah, it's
Mattea.
So then, were you born in Calgary? Or?
I grew up in Toronto, so when I was answering my question, I was
Yeah.
like, what can I talk about? What
Yeah,
can I talk
yeah.
about? And I said, I actually grew up in Toronto, so I was one of 3 white girls growing up.
Uh-huh.
And I was darker than the mixed kids because I get a really good tan. And I said, when I moved to Calgary, my mom goes, Taya, how was your first day? And I said, Mom, everyone's white. And I said, all the girls are blonde. What am I supposed to do? And she goes, you know what, just take it day by day. You're going to be fine. And so I said, once I got to know the people in Calgary, I was really, really lucky. They live active lifestyles. You can literally walk down the street.
Yes.
Everyone will smile on you. So I
Yeah.
really focused on that Western hospitality.
Hospitality.
But when I walked off stage, I looked at the choreographer and I said, am I going to be the racist beauty queen for calling everyone white in Alberta? And he goes, you're fine. Everyone laughed because there was such a diverse audience. And everyone started laughing. I'm going, I'm going to be that girl. I don't know what I'm going to do. So there were 6 of us. All the girls did a beautiful job. They're from all over Canada. So 3 of the girls were from Ontario. There was myself. Oh no, 4 of the girls were from Ontario.
Okay.
There was myself from Alberta and then 1 girl from BC.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were all standing there and they called my name first as the second runner-up. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
At least you were in the.
I have a crown.
Yeah.
And then they called the second runner-up. So she actually just flew in from Poland yesterday
Oh,
from
okay.
competing. And then the girl who actually won, Cynthia, she's 17 and she competed at Miss World in China. So she did a phenomenal job. So we all kind of like looked at each other and were like, did this just happen? We gave each other huge hugs.
Yeah.
All of the contestants came down and saw us, which was really, really
Yeah.
sweet.
So sweet.
And then we jumped straight into media. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was really,
Wow.
really quick.
Nice, nice.
You know, if you can just think, I think you're still kind of dreaming, isn't it?
It's still a little
Yeah.
foggy.
Yeah.
I'm really lucky they recorded the full pageant and they
Oh,
sent
nice.
me a DVD so I can kind of watch back
nice.
and
That's-
remember.
Yeah, that's so important.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, what you doing in Calgary? Are you working anywhere? Or?
Right now I'm just taking kind of a hiatus from work. I was
Mhm.
focusing on my school and my education,
Good.
and then this is kind of my full-time job right now. I
Yeah.
train every day. I work with some
Right.
amazing organizations, and it's just kind of finding my footing on how I can really, I guess, redefine Canadian pageantry, just because it's not really accepted in Canada compared to places like Venezuela or the Philippines.
Yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes. yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what are you feeling apprehension regarding going to a country you have never been and the pageant taking place there? Are you some things going on in your mind, like?
My number one thing is to make sure I get my vaccinations.
Yeah.
My
That's
dad
right.
and my parents were both
Right.
science students
Yeah.
or kinesiology, so
Yeah.
when you know you need vaccinations, you get them.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, specifically being from Canada, we can offer the world so much. Like when you think about it, we've been here for 150 years, which
That's
is
right.
amazing, but our country's built on tolerance and education and understanding.
Yeah.
So everyone that comes to Canada, whether that's seeking refugees, seeking a new life, finding that adaptation, they can actually have their cultural identity be accepted. So I think if the world really just took a look at Canada and said, you know what, if we kind of followed in their footsteps, even though they're young, it could be a really amazing place.
Wow.
So that's
That's-
kind of the plan
yeah.
going into it.
Yeah. So you'll be there from 10th to
25th-ish,
Yeah.
depending on my flight home.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
nice.
then it will start with other like different competitions or like kind of social media something in it too.
Oh geez. Oh, so I just got my new delegate handbook. I was reading it in
Okay.
the hallway. There's different aspects to competing. So there's swimmer competition, which is the whole bikini.
Right.
Then I have my evening gown, and I have a personal interview with a panel of judges.
Wow.
And then there is a social media aspect. So they have a top 15, I believe, and then one of the girls in the top 15 is like the fan vote.
Okay.
Oh, the
So
fan
that will
vote.
most likely
Okay.
go to Venezuela or Colombia
Wow.
or the Philippines.
Wow.
So-
We don't know. Maybe you.
I'm not 90% sure. I don't take it personally. Like I won Miss Social Media at Miss World Canada, which was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I'm so lucky because that's my degree. But I'm going, we have 1/10 of the population of most countries in the
Yeah,
world.
that's
Yeah.
right.
And a lot of those people who come to Canada are from the countries that are
Yeah,
Apache
that's right.
countries. So like,
Yeah.
I don't take it personally. I just have to work that much harder. Like, fingers crossed.
Nice.
So then your parents will go with you?
Oh gosh, no.
No, eh?
No. The first pageant I did by myself, I had 18 days notice, and I got a call, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to represent Canada at Miss Teen Universe?" And I kind of sat there, and I'm like, being the Canadian girl, I had my cup of coffee, and I was watching the Flames game.
There you go.
And I said, "Can I do this?" And I was talking to my parents. I was 19, and they said, "We'll make it happen." So my
Okay.
parents are really
Nice.
great, and they lent me the money, and I paid them back in 3 months. But in the span of 18 days, I was in university. I was writing midterms. I flew to Toronto for my fittings. Flew straight back home.
Oh,
Flew
so
out
much.
the next week to Nicaragua, and it was just kind of from then on out. So that international aspect, I'm kind of used to of that
Right.
uncertainty, but
Yeah.
it'll be interesting.
Interesting,
I've never
very
been
interesting.
overseas, so I'm really excited.
Wow.
It is. It
Yeah.
is a. It's a
Give you
beautiful country.
Give you goosebumps already?
I think what I'm most nervous for is the flight, the
Flight.
length of the flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because I'm not going to be able to sleep the whole time.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take you to Europe somewhere for 8 hours and
That's what I'm
then
thinking.
down
Yeah,
to
yeah,
Asia
that's
from
how
there.
it-
They're kind of looking at Europe or maybe part of the Middle East.
Middle
We'll see
East,
what
yeah.
works.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Depending on the flight,
Yeah.
what airline are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm flying out of Calgary or Toronto, so we'll figure it
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
Great. Yeah, that's great.
You know, this is
So, like lots of girls, they're really hesitant to take part into all these kind of things, and they have the passion, but they don't have. They kind of, they said no. It's something about
It's
all
that
of
little
it,
bit
the
of hesitation.
and they're a little scared. And so, what message would you give it to them?
I'd say it's anything you want to do in life. It's the same message.
Yeah.
If you really want to do something, you never know until you try. And it sounds so cliche.
Yeah.
I was always told, unless you try, you never know, and that's a failure in itself. And I think from my personal experience, like I was blessed to win my first competition. It was an eye-opener, and it taught me so much, not only about Calgary, but about the people who make a difference.
Right.
Yeah.
So whether it's finding a new job or trying a new sport or taking an art class, I'd say just jump in. Obviously do like a little bit of research, know what you're getting into
Right.
first.
Right.
But unless you try, you never know what could happen.
Do you do any kind of sports?
Oh gosh, I used to play volleyball, I ran track, I did cross country, I played soccer. I was always mediocre, like I could always make the team, but I was just there.
Just there.
I was never the star of the team, so I was really lucky. I just kind of like did what I needed
But you
to
were
do.
there, you took part.
yeah.
That is important, right? That's
Yeah.
as you
Yeah,
said
if
it.
not, I was warming
Yeah.
the bench,
Yeah,
so it's fine.
It's okay. Yeah. You tried. You tried.
Oh,
your
yeah.
best.
So you will
Yeah, yeah.
fly out on 10th or?
Everything's kind of up in the air right
Is
now.
that right?
We literally got the new dates 2 weeks ago yesterday.
Yeah.
So I've been talking to my director and I said, well, what do we want to do? Where do we want to fly me out from? So ideally, girls are going to be arriving from the 10th to the 12th in Egypt.
Okay.
And those first 3 days are more press conferences, interviews, getting us registered, doing our official photo shoots, making sure we have our headshots on the website. So it's very much that first,
Right.
I guess, administration couple
Yeah.
days. So,
Right,
and then
right.
the competition starts.
Okay. So how can we help you?
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, for sure. I think the biggest thing that I really want to focus on for my year is empowering women, just because I feel that there's so many issues with sexual harassment that's going on in the workplace.
Mhm.
So that was brought up a ton at Miss Universe, as well as just really embracing people's confidence in that individuality. I also work with some amazing charities. So for me, it's not so much supporting me, but it's supporting the causes I support.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm working with a woman actually who works for Alberta Health Services, and she's putting together a couple fundraisers in the new year to
Nice.
put together an installation in the South Health campus to allow families when they enter and merge to have that kind of separate family area, so they're not associated with the general public so that the children can relax.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be posting about that in a couple of days when she sends me the information, so I'll share that out.
Yes.
I also work with Brain Injury Canada. So
Oh, you do?
yeah,
Nice.
my platform is concussion prevention and head injury awareness.
Nice.
Yeah, I actually had a skull fracture when I was born.
Is
so
that right?
yeah,
Oh.
so my mom's first baby with a broken head. Yeah, so I worked with them as well. I'm going to post all about the charities, but if there's a specific charity an individual's passionate about and they need someone to be an advocate for it, or they need someone to show up for a fundraiser, just have them contact me. That's probably the easiest way. Everything about the pageant's honestly up in the air right now.
Yeah,
I think there's 64 of us kind of all going, okay, so what are you packing?
Yeah,
What are you
that's right.
bringing? Do we know the rules? So
It's going to be nice weather.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Evenings it's going to be
chilly.
cool.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool.
And Egypt is very like historical country.
Oh,
so it's going to be a
I'm
lot of things.
I'm so excited.
Oh, you must go and
Make sure to take a lot of pictures and share with us.
Yeah, you must go and see the
Everything will
pyramids.
be on my Facebook.
Yeah.
Everything I do is on my Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay, what are your pages on Facebook?
Okay, so I've got a couple pages. So the first one that you're sharing is my Mattea Henderson page.
Right.
I also have one that's Miss Intercontinental Canada.
2017.
2017, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was going to say, I don't know what date it is at this point. And then all of my social media is just at Mattea Henderson. Just to keep it consistent for people. Having that different name and having the same spelling really helps.
Yeah,
that's right.
It does.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a great honor for us to have
you. Thank you for having me. I feel so blessed.
No, anytime. If we can help you in any other way, in any other, please contact us and we will try our best. And then you come back with a new crown. And then you'll be in our studio.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, we'll have a live, so we'll take phone calls and everything.
I'll just call you from Egypt.
Yeah, do that.
So I'll be following you anyway.
Perfect. We're Facebook friends. That totally works.
Yeah, so we'll be updating, I think it's going to be awesome. Looking forward to it. Like, hopefully we can bring something
Any last message you want to give to our listeners and viewers, because our time is almost done.
I was going to say, I'm checking my watch.
Yeah.
I'd say definitely thank you for having me. I really appreciate you listening to my story. It's something a little bit different in Calgary, but Calgary's such an amazing community and everyone's so close. It's really a blessing to live here.
Awesome. And it's 150th birthday of Canada. It's extra special for us.
I get it. My family's been here for 5 generations.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I'm the 5th generation.
Oh, how nice.
So
How nice.
it's very special.
Yeah. Very nice. Yeah.
Guys.
So give us we could have been talking to her more, but our time, look at the watch, it's all 10 o'clock right now. So we'll beg your leave, and once she comes back with the new crown and such, we will be having her on the studio. Yeah.
Sounds perfect.
So thank you so much for our viewers and to our listeners. Thank you once again for everything, and I hope you enjoyed our segment. उम्मीद है आप लोगों को हमारा आज का सेगमेंट ज़रा मज़ेदार था, अच्छा लगा होगा, तो हमें आप इजाज़त दीजिए, और अब हमारा टाइम हो गया है, तो शब्बा खैर and all the best to you.
Yes, and of course on a December 25th we're going to have a Teria. She's a winner of Jalak Dikhlaja. It's organized by the Nepalese community of Calgary. Tickets are available at OK Food and General Store, and event is happening at Magnolia Banquet Hall. So आपकी टिकट जल्दी ले लीजिए. It's going to be lots of fun. It's going to be Ishita will be there, local singers, local artists will be there as well. And there is Nepali is like one of the big singer, I believe Rai, something Rai. He's going to be there as well. Or of course December 31st there are New Year's Eve party at Nirvana. Contact Lata Patel ji or Priya Vermani for our Magnolia Banquet Hall as well. And there are so many people are watching, listening. Thank you so much, guys. This is the only one, Mattea Henderson. Oh, did I say right?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Mattea Henderson, and inshallah she will bring new crown for us, and she will be back in our studio.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
It
was so much fun.
It was
Thank
so
you so
much
much.
fun.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks everyone. Bye bye.
So much fun.
So guys, thank you so much. We're gonna stop our Facebook Live and for YouTube as well. Recording will be available on YouTube, so whenever you can watch it. We will promote Mattea, hopefully, and her social media.
Yeah,
Let's hope.
definitely.
Thank you guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye.
There we go.